To reap a return in 10 years, plant trees. To reap a return in 100, cultivate the people. You will kill 10 of us. You will kill one of you. But in the end, you will tire of it first. It was patriotism, not communism, that inspired me. Remember, the storm is a good opportunity for the pine and the cypress to show their strength and their stability. We can kill 10 of our men for every one we kill of yours, but even at those odds, we will lose and we will win. It is well known that the infinite rapping again inside of my head continues. They said, I follow only one party of the Vietnamese party. After the rain, a good weather, and the wink of an eye, the universe froze off its muddy clothes. I'm very moved to be here today. Our lives are not much better, but Vietnam remains a very poor country. We need to work much harder. The morning sun shines over the prison wall and drives away the shadows and a miasma of hopelessness. Life-giving breeze blows across the earth. 100 imprisoned faces smile once more. I've never cared for hummingbirds, but what do I do inside a jail? I now know what a caged bird sings indeed. A hum some birds to pass long days. A hum and wait till freedom comes. The U.S. imperialists supply armaments to their henchmen to massacre the Chinese peoples. They dump their goods in China to prevent the development of local handicrafts. Their pornographic culture depraves the youth in areas placed under their control. They follow the policy of buying up, deluding and dividing our people. They strive to turn some bad elements into U.S. agents that they use for the conquest of our country. We are the youth of the nation. There's a prepping equation of Vietnamese culture, religion. I like to ride the storms, kill sharks in the open sea, drive out the aggressors, reconquer our country, untie the birds of serfdom, and never bend my back to be the porcupine of whatever man. The Cochin Chinese, Vietnamese are more gentle and courteous in conversation than any other nation of Europe. They stand much upon their valor. They ask us many questions. They invite us to eat them. Usually all kinds of courtesy, civility, and familiarity. It seemed to us as if we were among ancient acquaintances. There is a fair gate open for the preaching of the gospel of Jesus Christ among them, foreign Catholics, the men of the doctrines of heaven and hell, in order to stupefy what? The people, to make them behave as if insane. They're so impregnated with these notions that this becomes their habitual behavior. They become corrupted, and yet they are unaware of their own corruption. The Western heterodox religion intoxicates the hearts of men, making it truly the most dangerous of all superstitions. They have abolished their churches and forbidden them to assemble for worship. It has long been known that the followers of the Western heterodox religion steal people's eyes. Rhymes all night, we honor the youth of the nation, rapid annihilation, invasion of syllables, parables, invasion of syllables, parables of Not Nam was a Vietnamese, a Zen Buddhist monk, and a peace activist. He was one of the greatest contemporary Buddhist teachers and the founding father of the engaged Buddhism movement in central Vietnam. Nhat Nam became a monk at 16. As an apprentice, he neglected his Buddhist training college for Sachin University to study world literature, philosophy, and science during the Vietnam War. He coined the term engaged Buddhism he coined the term engaged Buddhism to describe the anti-war movement in his country. He left his monastery and became actively engaged in helping victims of the war and publicly advocating peace. He organized rescue missions to save the boat people fleeing Vietnam in the 1970s. However, his anti-war activism made him unpopular with the powers that be, and he was forced into exile. In 1967, he was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize by Dr. Martin Luther King. Indeed, that was considered by many to be the father of mindfulness. In the West, he lived in exile in Plum Village, a retreat center in southern France, from where he taught meditation to thousands of followers in the West. Affectionately referred to as they by his students, was the author of many books and poetry. his writings not hum, stress the oneness of entropy and of all existence, mindfulness in daily life, and service and not violent activism on behalf of those suffering tyranny and injustice. Relentless with my rhymes I am obsessed with. When we come into contact with the other person, our thoughts and actions should express their mind of compassion. Even if that person says and does things that are not easy to accept, we practice in this way until we see clearly that our love is not contingent upon the other person being lovable. The miracle is not to walk on water, the miracle is to walk on the green earth in the present moment, to appreciate the peace and beauty that are available now. Our notions of happiness entrap us. We forget that they are just ideas. Our idea of happiness can prevent us from actually being happy. We fail to see the opportunity for joy that is right in front of us when we are caught in a belief that happiness should take a particular form. May our heart's garden of awakening bloom with hundreds of flowers. May our heart's garden of awakening bloom with hundreds of flowers. If love is in our hearts, every thought, word, and deed can bring about a miracle, spiritual miracle. In April, we cannot see sunflowers in France, so we might say the sunflowers do not exist. The local farmers have already planted thousands of seeds, and when they look at the bare hills, they may be able to see, cough echo lyrics, to see the sunflowers already. The sunflowers are there. They lack only the conditions of heat, sun, heat, rain, and light. Just because we cannot see them does not mean that they do not exist. Just because we can't see God doesn't mean He does not exist. But if we have the energy of compassion and love and kindness in us, people around us will be influenced by our own way of being and living. Rapping Vietnamese religion, Vietnamese religion. I said, spitting again till off pop the crack. I never stopped spitting Vietnamese folk religion till off pop of my head. Not spitting again and again till off pop of my head. Vietnamese folk religion, I said. Never stop it again, I said, inside of my head. As the voices begin, as the darkness comes settling in to my mind, Quan Yun's gentle form is a worthier symbol than the figure of a tortured being hanging from a cross or of an awesome thought for God. I've known Quan Yin for some years now as Quan An, her Vietnamese name. Her gentle image evoking calm and believers among them is my mother. My father was a Catholic and thought I should decide about religion when I was older. He embraced Eastern philosophy and tradition, a mystic or monk. Might suggest my father was Buddhist in a previous life after he died. As my mother went older, the story took on a new meaning. My spiritual journey and that of my children included reading about religion and literature, listening to a priest, rabbi, monk, or scholar. Wisdom and lessons also came in everyday exchanges and quiet moments on a mountain trail, or like the following which I learned in a nursing home after my mother's surgery. The story was meant for my edification, and I bristled. What I heard was a passionate chronicle with a pause for reflection and rummaging about her memory. I've pieced it together here. Long ago in Vietnam, there lived a gentleman's daughter named Ken. Visiting the temple one day, she fell in love, but not with a man. She wanted to commit herself to a temple. A life of selfless devotion to ease the suffering of others appealed to her. Ken told her father, but he would not allow it. Her appearance was lovely and her temperament was kind. For this she was known far and wide and had endless suitors. Her father arranged a marriage to a respectable man with a bright future. Her daughter was torn between her duty to her father and and there were no women in the monastery then, only boys and men. This is how it was. King obliged her father out of a sense of filial piety. She was not long married when she woke up one night and could not sleep. Daylight entered the room and she saw a long hair protruding from a mole on her husband's face. She did not wish to criticize him and decided to remove it in his sleep. She took the cut and shears and tiptoed carefully toward him. As she leaned over his face, bringing up the shears, he woke. He seized her hand and accused her of trying to take his life. He threw her out of his house and banned her from the town. She left him and her family in disgrace. Ken wandered through miles through many towns, taking alms and food as charity. She had a lot of time to think. When she could see the next town, she noticed a monastery situated in a peaceful setting by the river. Before she arrived, she shaved her head, bound her chest and shed her clothes, her rags. She came to the monastery and begged them to accept her. The monks were impressed with the eloquence, the sincerity, and the aberrance of the handsome youth, so they welcomed her. Over the years, Ken grew in learning and practice, as well as regard, and she kept her secret, rapping again on spit and never ending. I shall forever spit the enemy's folk religion, and I try and spit, and again I said off top of my head.